If I were to ask you, over the last 7-8 years of the process under Mikel Arteta, whenever we look at any processes out there, any clubs, obviously everything works gradually. You make one signing at a time, you make a couple more, but there will always be this defining signings.
Oh yeah, okay.
When you look at Arsenal, who do you think under Mikel over the last few years has sort of been that needle-moving signing that has really uplifted the team the most compared to? I mean, every new signing, I'm sure, uplifts the team to some extent. But who has lifted?
When you signed Dennis Bergkamp, we were like, wow.
So
that's the sort of reaction
correct.
it has.
So who do you reckon in this Arteta era has probably had a similar effect on the team?
Okay, new signings for me, at least my personal opinion is David has touched a little bit about his similarities with Graham and Wenger before this. And one of the other similarities for me is this person, Mikel Arteta. I think he is a risk taker and he is not afraid to make big decisions. Early in his Arsenal career, if you all remember, he decided to part ways with their club captain and top scorer, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Right? There's not many managers out there who would come to elite English club, maybe the top 6 English club, and do that straight away. Imagine, like Michael Carrick say, next season that he doesn't want Bruno Fernandes, the world will be upside down, right? So before the new signings that he made, that was a defining moment for me. The removal of a few untouchables, so to speak, in the team.
Like was Ozil as well.
Ozil.
Aubameyang, but
I'm sure it's a hard decision for him.
It was, but it wasn't always like a football decision as well. Because on the pitch they were good. But it's off the pitch.
Yes.
We spoke about before about captains. Leading by example, and the example that Aubameyang was setting was not good. Constantly late, not turning up, things like that. Constantly getting fined. That's not a captain, and that's not something that you want the rest of the players to look at. It winds the other players up. When someone is constantly late, the players hate it, and then they'll start having a go. Mikel obviously saw that and just thought, well, this is the best decision is to get him out. But I think the biggest one was Declan. The amount of money that the club paid for him, 100 million is a lot of money. And now, what I like the most is that everyone's seeing the best of him. Because he's come to Arsenal, and no disrespect to West Ham, he's got better players around him now, and he's showing what he can do. And he's doing it week in, week out. He's played so many games, and he's played so many games last season, not just for Arsenal, but for England as well. So his consistency is so high. So for me, that was a good statement.
Actually, when you put it that way, yes.
What's the crazy thing about Declan is that I don't think there's a single fan of any club out there that would look at him and not want him in the team. And it's not just for footballing reasons. It's for the character that he presents. It's the enthusiasm that he brings. The sight of him outside the Emirates on the day they won the title, walking around at 5 a.m. with those guys and entertaining fans. And even just now, the way he reacted to Nash's letter in that video. He's just such a genuine, kind-hearted soul that is at the same time very driven. And this is something that we talk about a lot. I remember us having this conversation for Ace about how sportsmen have every right to have ego. They have every right, because sometimes the ego is what drives you to the absolute top. You got to have that, that selfishness, that tunnel vision, right? So sometimes I don't begrudge athletes for being egotistical or for being selfish. I don't begrudge them, because if you like their greatness, know that greatness probably comes from that ego.
They're different.
But then, every now and then, you come across these athletes who are at the peak of their prowess without a shred of that ego. And that blows your mind. Because how are you doing that? Because when you look at someone like Roger Federer, for example, the classiest, kindest guy. When I'm sure behind the scenes, internally, he's a monster.
Usain Bolt.
Yeah, but with everyone, he's just this chilled out N'Golo Kante when he won. Everybody loved him. When I look at Declan, I get that. When I look at him, I see a winner, but I also feel this warm, fuzzy feeling because I know he's this kind dude,
It's
for
like
the lack of a better
humility, isn't
word.
it?
Yeah.
You know, and even Bukayo, you know, when you see Bukayo, you know, you see how he is. It's just you're like, oh wow, he's just a normal guy, but he's so good at what he does. But then there's the other side of it. But it's the same. There's even in life, normal life. You know, there's people that are so different. You know, because everybody thinks that footballers, because they get paid so much and they've got cars, they've got houses, all that they have to act in a certain way. But no, it's how you're brought up from your parents that makes you into these sort of characters.
I agree with David. Sometimes it's hard for us to articulate, but the humanity in us know, we can spot it. We can, like Kish said just now, you know, he felt that warm,
Fuzzy feeling.
feeling.
Yeah, I like
just looking at Declan, you know, it's the humanity in us, right?